I hate everything about this episode. I mean that as in like I just am feeling challenged. That's all.
I agree. This stuff definitely gets me.
I'm so glad that I could offer this for you guys. This is Generation Health. Every week we bring you the latest news, cutting-edge research, and time-tested best practices helping you live a longer, healthier life. PharmD, certified strength and conditioning specialist Dante DiMatteo, rocking the Cat Dad Christmas sweater.
Wow.
That's very impressive.
Thanks.
And that's a customized Cat Dad Christmas sweater, isn't it?
Yeah, this is custom.
That's amazing. Ghost, Pablo, and Moon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the names of your cats who are not on camera.
We got to get them on for a guest episode.
Or not.
Nicole got me this made.
That's very sweet of her.
Mm. Yeah, I'm glad. It's always fun to, pull this back out.
I'm sure. Worth every penny.
Yeah.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic.
We also want to announce our new line of Cat Dad sweaters.
Yes.
Soon to be available on the website.
No.
No, we're not. Josiah Schweinberg, engineer, giving me the look. What did I do, man? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I don't know. I'm you have me with bated breath, hanging on every word you're going to say. What are you going to say about me?
Nothing. I like you.
All right. Well,
you're kind of festive too.
Yeah, it's like
you just you took the family out, cut the tree down.
I did. Took the big old axe down to the tree.
What's his name? Paul Bunyan.
Yeah.
You got a little Paul Bunyan in you today.
I'd prefer to channel my inner Clark Griswold. Yeah.
Folks, this episode, since we are right around the corner from Christmas, full transparency, this is going to be an oddball, kind of a feeling lazy episode.
Kind of a unicorn.
It's not feeling lazy. This is fun.
It's fun. It's fun. There you go. That's better.
It's a fun episode.
It's a fun episode. We're not getting serious.
Guess we'll see.
We're not going to cure cancer or anything like that. But what's favorite Christmas movie?
Wow.
Come on. It's not that hard.
Wow. I would still say Christmas Vacation.
No.
That, what is it? Die Hard?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't know if I was going to be the
Come on.
The typical.
I haven't seen that. I don't even really remember it.
See, this is the problem. If you remembered it,
people
you would say
Die Hard's not a Christmas movie.
Yeah, well,
I know, it's just the classic.
Wrong.
That's like that classic debate that comes up every year. I actually, as a kid, I used to like Jingle All the Way, the best.
Oh, okay.
Jingle All the Way with Arnie.
That
was fun.
I liked the
that
Santa Claus.
Tim Allen.
Yep.
Tim Allen. That's a good one.
What was it, like Rocket Man or whatever? Yeah. What was the name of the toy?
The action figure.
Yeah.
my kids love Home Alone. Home Alone.
Classic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Dante, what are we talking about in this show other than Christmas movies? We
are not talking about New Year's resolutions, or at least we're not talking about giving you New Year's resolutions.
What?
We're getting personal about what we're thinking about some of our New Year's resolutions.
But this is an advice show. Surely there's something new that we should be sharing with all the people that they should incorporate into their New Year's resolutions.
I think that there will be some nuggets that the listeners might be able to extract from this conversation.
But first, we're going to talk about what's happening behind the counter. Mark, a 63-year-old man with advanced Parkinson's disease, has regained his ability to walk normally after receiving an electronic spinal implant that interfaces with his brain and restores normal signaling to his leg muscles. The implant, developed by a team of Swiss researchers, is the first of its kind and has the potential to offer a new approach to treating the movement issues Parkinson's patients have. The researchers started by making a super detailed map of the unique structure of Mark's spinal cord, then identified the exact locations in the spine that were involved in walking. Electrodes were implanted at those locations, which stimulate the precise portion of the spine. Mark then wears a movement sensor on each of his legs, and those sensors can tell when Mark has started walking, and the signal for the implant starts to do its thing. The researchers have enrolled 6 more people to attempt to replicate this result before they get to move on to clinical trials. If this is successful, this is a totally novel approach that could have huge implications in treating Parkinson's. Very, very cool, and kind of futuristic sci-fi sort of thing, which is not at all like Christmas. But keeping with that cyborg theme, man and machine interacting, If you haven't heard, Elon Musk has been given permission by the US government to stick microchips in people's brains.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Where's Joey when you need him? Wow. This past summer, Neuralink, a company owned by Mr. Musk, announced that the FDA had granted clearance for the first in-human trials of their BCI, or brain-computer interface. The small coin-sized device is implanted in the brain and records the signals in the brain. It sends those signals to a computer, which translates them into specific intentions, which the computer then sends out to external devices. This effectively allows the patient to control real-world devices with their mind. The company is currently seeking people with spinal cord injuries and lateral sclerosis in the hope that the implant will be able to learn what brain pattern are things like walking and send those signals past the damaged tissue down to otherwise functional limbs to enable these people to regain control of their limbs. The potential applications are literally the stuff of science fiction, restoring sight to the blind, hearing to the deaf, and full mobility to those without it. Of course, Elon Musk didn't stop there. He also suggested that people with fully functioning bodies will want this to enable them instantaneous control over things like phones and computers. Personally, I'm hoping that we haven't gotten that addicted to efficiency quite yet. Joey's a big fan of Elon's. Do you know if he's signed up for the Neuralink beta test yet?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, come on. He wouldn't do that. That's insane. Would you do that? Assuming that you've been injured in some debilitating accident, would you be open to having an implant put in your brain to help you potentially move again?
Yeah, I don't have any real academic understanding of this.
Yeah.
But as, just an everyday person, it's an intriguing idea.
It is.
I would say that this sounds pretty good.
What's
at least worth a shot.
What's bizarre is if you go to the website, you can see this stuff. Because of course they test this on animals before they ever test it on a human. There is a monkey playing Pong with his brain on their website. Because that's the first thing is they taught the monkey how to control a cursor on a screen or the paddle with his brain. And so the researchers are playing Pong with the monkey, and the monkey is just thinking where he wants the paddle to go. It's bizarre.
That's pretty wild. What's interesting is like the first article you shared about the Parkinson's implant. We're like, wow, this is like great. This is great. But we're talking about a similar implant, but because it's with Elon Musk.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh,
well, the difference
don't know about that.
The difference is the Parkinson's one, they implant it, I believe, on the spine. And it because of the way Parkinson's works, I think it sends your brain is sending erroneous signals down the spine, which is causing the instability and the fidgety movement and that sort of thing. And the implant, what it functionally does is actually interrupt those signals. Mm-hmm. This is the opposite of that. This is going further, and instead of implanting it lower on the spine, they're implanting it directly in your brain.
But it's to help people with mobility issues.
That's where we start. But eventually he just wants you to be able to surf the net with your brain. So you can drive your Tesla with your mind.
Yeah. So, to your question, your question that you asked Dante about if he were to experience, God forbid, debilitating injury, would he do it? I think you'd have to be open to it. Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing with being an organ donor or not.
Novel cancer treatments and trials. And
I've heard Elon compare this to using glasses, that if your eyes don't focus properly, you put on glasses, and that's the same thing. If your spine doesn't communicate the signals down to your feet properly, then you put on a Neuralink. I don't know. It's not my thing. So with New Year's right around the corner, of course, everybody is probably expecting us to do, here's 3 things you should have on your New Year's resolution. But we're not going to do that. And the reason we're going to do that is because that's what this show is all of the time, is talking about how to improve your life, your health, all of those things. The advice really hasn't changed from year to year. We've written articles on the past. If you want to go back and read the blog posts, you certainly can. But there's not anything new or groundbreaking that has come out in the last couple weeks to change the advice. So for example, if I said, I'm going to read your mind here, Dante, in the new year, people should get 150 minutes of movement split between strength training and cardiovascular training.
Yeah, something like that.
Brilliant. Josiah, spiritually speaking, it would be a good idea if people would resolve to read their Bibles and pray.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. I'm going to, and Joey's not here, but I know that he would say, eat your colors, eat the rainbow, whole live foods, and supplement well. Right? It's not, the point being, there's nothing new in any of this.
It's still physical health goals, weight loss goals, eating goals.
Right.
Self-improvement goals.
Yes.
Scripture would say there's nothing new under the sun.
Exactly. So if you are looking for something groundbreaking, radical, and new, this ain't it. I think most people know what they should be doing, where they have room for improvement, and we all just need to kind of do those things. But one thing that I think is fun, one thing that I think is really useful, we've talked about it in the past, is doing an inventory. We talked about it last episode, doing an inventory that was about emotions, but doing a year in review. I've done it a couple of years now. This will be the third year I've done it. A year in review where you dig through a specific set of questions to think back over the year that you just had and kind of think forward to what kind of year you want to have. And this is not, there is goal setting and stuff involved in here, but it's not strictly that. I think these are really handy questions. So I thought for fun, it's really fun. We could go through that. Here are the answers I've given in the past. I'm not going to show you because I don't want you to see what I failed on. But this is funny. I just came across this. So this is 2023, and there's a sticky note down at the bottom that basically outlines how the week that I was trying to do this was so atrocious on a personal level that I eventually got to where I just couldn't do it anymore, and I just put it away. But I did most of it, and it is a useful exercise, and I've been back at it this year. So I wanted to run you guys through some of this.
Yeah, and I think with something like this that people come to every year, should they do something like this, it's, you almost miss it. You know, that week that we're about to go into between Christmas and New Year's, a lot of activity, get-togethers and so on. And then it hits the new year and you're like, oh, I didn't set my goals.
Right. It's too late now.
I might as well wait till next year.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, well, no, you could do this at any point. A lot of people use the year mark as a good starting or end point. But
it's a mental break. It makes sense. Yeah. It's a natural way to do that. But no matter when you're listening to this, it's a great exercise. Mm-hmm. So without further ado, here's a few of my highlights. If you want to do this yourself, we're going to put a link down below to this actual document so you can read through it. Just copy and paste it into your own document or write it out by hand. That's what I like to do. Feels a little more personal. I'm going to hide this stack of papers because I don't need that on camera. Woo. Here we go. Josiah, Dante, yes. In the last year, 2023, what was the best meal you've eaten?
Wow.
The best meal, this is an easy one to answer on a year-over-year basis. Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, it is great. I do enjoy Thanksgiving, but I had to go with paella in Barcelona. We summered in Spain this past year.
Yeah.
That's not true. We went there for a week and it was amazing, but
braggart is what you said to me a few episodes ago. Braggart.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah. Unless it's a big trip. I don't know. Like we went to Philly for a wedding. Food's the same.
Yep.
Unless you get a cheesesteak or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like my diet has become so predictable that I like that. It's like the Steve Jobs shirt thing. Like it's just become so
one less thing to think about.
One less thing to think about. I like my ground turkey, ground meat, veggie mixes, eggs with cottage cheese, and Thanksgiving stands out. So unless we summer in Spain, I'm not sure that I'm gonna.
Yeah, and I would venture to say, best meal always includes, well, like you're saying, are we on a trip? What's the environment?
Right.
Is it just a really great conversation I'm having with my wife, and we're sharing a bottle of wine, and like what is the
like not your favorite. Did your favorite food change? Is this your fourth grade recap?
Right. No. It is. Yeah. And then the other one that I had to pull out of here was favorite concert. Did you guys go to any concerts this year?
Mm-hmm.
Did I see?
Okay, you think about that. What was your favorite?
Well, I didn't go to many, but I saw DJ Seinfeld in Pittsburgh.
DJ Seinfeld?
Yes. He's not the most well known, but he's awesome, and it was really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I like all that dance music.
Yes, you do.
You know how we do it.
Josiah?
I don't know that I have an answer for this. I don't know that I went to any concerts. I probably did, but I can't remember.
Oh,
good answer. Good answer.
That's all right. I have two answers, so I'll help you out here.
Peter Gabriel.
Oh man, spoiler. Yes, it was Peter Gabriel in Pittsburgh at the PPG Arena.
Because I didn't have one, I wanted to spoil yours.
Life altering. It was so good. It was so good. I also, what else did I love? I had a couple of great ones. I got to see a show with my two of my sons. Well, I have a great first memory of the first concert with each of my boys. And so one of those happened this past summer. That's cool. That was really fun. So anyway, that's the first part of this. There's a whole bunch. There's like 15 questions of the best of the year. So you can kind of dig through and remember some of this stuff and write it down for posterity's sake. Mm-hmm. Then it goes into the review. And this is what I really enjoy about this process. It breaks everything down into career, relationships, health, and personal growth. So there's kind of 4 big categories trying to cover everything. You can add or subtract. You can change your own. You can, whatever you want, throw them in there. But the questions and thinking about them in a narrowed, defined way is what I always find really helpful. All right. So starting with health, what went well this year?
Early 2023.
Yep.
It was a performance-oriented accomplishment, I guess. Did better in the Open and the CrossFit Open and CrossFit quarterfinals from 2022 to 2023.
Yeah.
So a little bit of an improvement.
That's fantastic. Then the next question is immediately, why?
Well, I managed to stay, I know this is health centered, but I managed to stay healthy enough and injury free long enough to build enough training volume.
Mm-hmm.
And so just, punching in enough times from the opening quarters of 2022 to 2023, got enough of that done, enough of that in, that it manifested itself in a little bit of a higher position on the leaderboard.
So what did you learn? That's the third question in each segment. What did you learn from that?
Something we talk about often, actually. It's more important to keep showing up than it is to knock it out of the park every time.
That's awesome.
In the show, this show taught me that same thing.
Yeah.
You never know what clicks. You never know when the day is that you're going to show up and it's a home run or it's a, personal best on a lift. So you show up and you stop trying to predict it. And, again, you build enough of those sessions and enough of the momentum that eventually there's some sort of progress made.
Yeah. Josiah, what about you? Any big, what went well in your health this year?
I'd say I ran the half marathon again, second year in a row.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I wanted to, it was a goal.
Half marathon's a long way.
It is.
Why did that go well?
It didn't go as well as the year before.
Okay.
But it went well in that my goal was I want to do it again.
There you go.
And why did it go well? Because I think, not to piggyback on what Dante just said, but keep showing up. I run with a friend. Mm-hmm. So just another form of kind of carryover from our last podcast, just friendship, deep friendship, kind of holding each other accountable, running. You talk a lot on your run, which helps your cardio.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of stuff in there, but
yeah, that for me, it's the same thing as well. I've never gone to the gym consistently for an entire year. So having done that for now more than a year, that is without question the thing that went best for me.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
Why did it go well? Because I had a friend, because I had somebody that I expected to be there and that expected me to be there and that was disappointed when I didn't show up. And the other reason is because I prepaid for the gym and I'm so cheap that if I pay hundreds of dollars at the front end, then I'm doing the math, at least for the first 2 months of okay, I've been here 6 times. So now I don't even remember what it was, $600 divided by 6. That's $100 a session. So you better keep showing up. Okay. I've
Invested.
been here.
It's an investment.
Been here, 16 times. Okay. Now how much is it? Okay, still too much. So I have to keep showing up to make my investment not so insane price.
And Tyler.
Yes.
What did you learn?
I learned that I can't do it alone. I do not have the self-control to keep showing up at the gym, because when my partner isn't there, I know for a fact that I do not hit it as hard. I don't work as hard. It's much easier for me to let myself off the hook with different things. So I have to have somebody else with me. And then after each of these big chunks where you're talking about personal growth, health, relationships, and career, there are a set of questions beyond that says, what habit or system accounted for most of my success and why? Another question is, are there any opportunities to double down? What are the most valuable ways that I'm spending my time? How can I allocate more time to those areas? What brought me the most happiness? How can I ensure that these activities happen more often? Who are the people that had the greatest impact on me?
This is great stuff.
Yeah, it's really good.
Isn't it good?
This is really good. Again, not to keep harping and
keep harping down there.
Yeah. Keep harping. Not to keep harping, but or continuing on from our last episode. But as you said at the outset of this one, just take an inventory of your feelings, your emotional feelings, in pertaining to last episode. But then this is like, you sit down to spend time doing work to this. But when you start to highlight these areas of what was successful, what led to growth, what led to success, what pulled you away from that, what distracted you.
Yeah.
These are tools to help you in the upcoming year.
I love that it asks, what did I learn? Because it's not just, it forces you to close the loop, to take the process to its end and go, oh, the point is, my opportunity for growth here is, the thing I can pull out of this is, I need a partner. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, I've been working on this already, and I'm not finished. I've got some time left. It's not the new year yet. Just give me a break. But I've already written 7 pages on this, which I would point out, this is another thing stolen from my good friend, Dr. Jordan Peterson.
My good friend.
One of the things he says is, he's got a whole course thing that he does, but he encourages people when they're doing this sort of thing, not to do it right. Don't try to do this correctly. Do it quickly and badly. The important thing is to just do it. Engage the process. Don't worry about it. So my handwriting is sloppy. I'm sure it's all misspelled, especially if you know me, that's definitely true. And it would probably not make much sense at all to anybody else. But the point is, I'm getting into the process, and the faster I get into it, the more those inhibitions of, I only have 20 minutes right now. I don't really want to dig into this thing. It's going to take hours. Don't worry about that. Just do it. Just do part of it. Do it a little bit at a time. Do it haltingly. Do it badly. Doesn't matter. Just do it, because doing any level of this kind of deep thought is better than none. So I encourage everybody, just dig in, just try. Now we get into we'll go back a second. Who are the people that had the greatest impact on me? I can tell you, because I wrote it down. It'd be you guys. Doing the show has been pretty substantial for me. My health, obviously. It's been an exciting adventure, and I just wanted to make a point of saying that. So thank you guys for an incredible 2023. I'm looking forward to 2024, because I expect more. I expect the doubling down to happen, where you guys help me to be a better person, because that's what this show is really all about.
Wow.
What are the most valuable ways that you're spending your time, Dante?
The most valuable way that I'm spending my time is still in relation to physical health.
Interesting. Personal
physical health. Yeah. There's just, it takes, it takes a lot to knock me off the wagon, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's, we get our grocery shopping done, generally get lunches ready.
Yep.
The gym is set up. I have some equipment here at home that makes it easy not to miss.
Yep.
The gym that I travel to is not the furthest necessary. So things are set up in such a way that I don't miss that frequently, thank God.
Yeah.
So one of the lessons in just talking about this so far is that there are other aspects, whether it's personal growth or, relationships or career.
Yeah.
Whichever one you want to pick. It would be nice to unpack this a little more to see what about that I can extrapolate
you got some
over
time
to those other areas that need work.
I was just going to say, because it sounds like the answer to the next question, which is there room to double down? Are there opportunities to double down? When it comes to your health, probably not a ton. You're already doing about as much as you can, reasonably speaking, while also having a career and a family and all those other things.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So looking for other places where you can double down.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to say that without sounding,
but no,
pretentious or whatever.
No, but I don't think so. I think everybody knows that you spend a lot of time.
And it's not necessarily about, you have the strongest bench press or you have the fastest mile time. It's just that the behaviors, they've become very much automatic.
And that's what this is about behaviors, about doing what we can to control those sorts of things. After the successes, which are fun to think through, then of course there's a section on what it calls it in here, lessons. So in your career, in your relationships, in health, and in personal growth, what didn't go so well this year? It's not asking what's a failure. It doesn't ask, where did you totally screw things up? What didn't go so well? Why? And what did I learn? Simple questions. And invariably, this is, again, I write pages and pages because it's easy for me to think of all the things that didn't go well this year.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys.
Yeah. If anything, it's, it'll take me, it feels like 2 hours to come up with a handful of things that went well. But as soon as we get to the negative, I can, fill up a college rolled notebook quickly.
Yeah.
Which that's a goal.
What is the lesson in that?
Yeah, there's a lesson in that.
I think one of the big things is when you write things down like this, then if you have written goals, when you achieve those, for example, if I pulled that up, I looked at it just a few minutes ago. One of my goals in 2023 was to have X number of episodes released by certain dates. Because if you go all the way through this, it asks you to kind of break down the things you want to do by quarters so that you can mark progress. And I looked at it and I was like, oh yeah, we did hit that. Not only did we hit it, but like we crushed that goal. Like we did a lot. Because this show was one of the things that is certainly in mine. So I was pretty pleased by that.
Yeah.
Do you have do you have anything you want to volunteer that didn't go so well? This is very personal.
Maybe it can help somebody.
Yeah. Go for it.
It felt like I was distracted at times throughout this year. More so, there's certain things I wanted to focus on with career specifically, that there were some side things that ended up being more distracting than anything and took me away from just certain things that I wanted to be focused on. So it was more of a lesson. I know that's vague, but
it's the way this sort of thing has to be sometimes.
Yeah. It's just that,
what was the lesson? Excuse me. What was the lesson you pulled out of that?
The lesson is, as much as we want to be experts in a bunch of different things, sometimes it's okay to slough a couple things off. Focus on one or two things or three things that are maybe, not necessarily the biggest bang for your buck in terms of career advancement, let's say.
Sure.
But what's going to help you tick the most? What are things that you genuinely feel passionate about? What are things that look like shortcuts? What are things that fall in that category as opposed to stuff that when I do, you enter your flow state or you enter, a place where you want to be, you can extract meaning from it. And a lot of this can definitely become a bit nebulous, but it's just reducing the amount of things that you think you can prioritize everything.
Yeah.
This seems to be a common theme for me from year to year. So doing this, 2023 audit helps face that a little bit.
That's absolutely one of the things I gain out of this is going, oh, I see my priorities. I know my priorities. I know what I say is most important.
Yep.
And then I look at what I did and what I didn't do and what I succeeded on, where I utterly crashed and burned. And I go, oh, maybe my stated priorities and my revealed priorities aren't lining up. How do I tweak this? How do I change this? Where are my opportunities to double down? I know for me, one of the things that didn't go so well, and I'll try to be as vague as possible, is relationships. And I have 4 kids. 2 of them are adults. 2 of them are still at home. And the transition between children and adults as a parent is a really weird one. I was not prepared for, I thought I was prepared for some of this transition. I thought I had, a great idea of how this was going to work. And then it didn't work that way. And it wasn't until it was almost over, the initial transition of kids moving out and stuff. It wasn't until it was almost over that I finally got some great advice from some really good friends who are older, who've been through it. And they said, so in our situation, it was specifically, I'm still trying to parent. I'm still trying to parent my kids. And they're 18 and 20. They're not interested in me parenting them anymore, And when they tell me about XYZ happening in their life, they're not telling me because they want advice.
Yeah.
They're telling me because they want me rooting for them. And I am rooting for them. It's just hard for me to turn off that advice giving part of my brain.
Wow.
And this friend very wisely said, just be their cheerleader. Just be really excited. It doesn't matter that you're not into hair metal. They are. One of them is. Be really excited for him.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah. Because that's what I would want my dad to do for me. So that's been an area that I have grown, and one of the lessons that I've taken out of this.
Yeah. To put it crudely, the shut up and listen sort of advice. Man, I see that in pharmacy. I see that in, more of a clinical setting. Like it's such good advice.
Yep.
It's such a profound way to help someone figure out what they need to figure out on their own.
Yeah.
And
because that is the goal, of course, is parenting is like, I want you to be able to do this on your own. I don't want you to need my advice. Yeah. Not to put you on the spot. Do you want to throw anything in?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm always my biggest critic.
Yeah.
My own biggest critic. And so, with what I do as far as pastoring, week to week and speaking and talking with people and praying for people and being with people, you're just emotionally bare a lot.
Yes.
And I have a tendency to carry a lot of those things with me, and it affects not only me, but my family in certain ways too. And being able to separate those things, I think a lot is what hasn't gone so great that I'm still working towards. And something like this would be helpful for me, for someone who's my own critic, biggest critic. Why am I feeling this way? What am I learning through this process? Why isn't this going well? Yeah. Like when you talk about goals and priorities, I know what I say my goals and priorities are. Like I want to prioritize my family and sporting events and all these things.
Yep.
But what I'm actually doing, what's the phrase? When you say yes to something, you're saying no to everything else.
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And that's
opportunity cost.
Yep. Yep.
And then after that section about those 4 categories, what didn't go so well, why, and what did I learn? Then there's a bunch of additional review questions to think back through that. What did I expect to complete, but I didn't? Is this still an important goal of mine? I love that question because that's true so much. There's so many situations in life where I want to do X, Y, Z. In fact, I just thought of one. I know what's in my 2021 review. I know what I said I was going to do in 2022. And then if you ask me now, and I didn't, is that still an important goal of mine? No, not at all, which is why I didn't do it. I got partway into it and I realized this isn't how I want to be spending my time. And I just ejected from it. So it's a great question to kind of help go, do you need to re-up on those goals, or is it something that you just need to eject from and move on?
Yeah.
How can I make future follow through more likely? What are the least valuable ways I'm spending my time? Anything I should have said no to, and why? You got something you want to throw in there?
No, I'm just saying that speaks right to what I'm talking about.
How can I prevent myself from continuing to spend my time in this way? Have my goals or priorities shifted in the last 3 months? There's a ton of questions here, and we don't have to go through them all. You should download it. You should work through this on yourself, on your own. It's fantastic stuff. But what are your biggest wins? What did I learn from each? Where were my time, attention, and energy best spent? How can I double down in these areas? Where could my time, attention, and energy have been allocated more effectively? How can I make this a reality? And then after that, it just goes into specific plannings of, what is your North Star? What is the thing you're aiming at in each of these areas each year, or this coming year? What are your milestones? How will you know you're making success? So if your goal is to, bench press 1 billion pounds, then you know that by June, you've got to be doing this. And by September, it's got to be like this. And, you can easily break it down. Some things are a little more nebulous, but that it's still good to try and work through it. Give yourself some action steps of things you can do.
Yeah.
And close it out. Final thoughts. Looking back at this coming year, when I reach a year from now, this point next year, what will I need to look back and see to consider this coming year a success? And who do I need to become for next year, for this next chapter of my life to turn out the way I would like to write it? This is my favorite one. After all of this, you've done all this planning. This is my favorite part. If I had to accomplish all of my goals for the next decade in the next year, what would I do? It's a big question. Mm-hmm. By shrinking that time horizon down, not leaving it nebulous, not leaving it wide open, going, no, you have a year. That thing you wanted to do, you have 1 year to make it happen.
That's one of those questions that brings me right back to my initial kind of overarching goal for the year.
Yeah.
And that's doing more subtraction than addition.
Oh, I like that. More subtraction than addition.
I just don't know how, if you look at what you've just written out over however long it took you to complete this.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you hit that question and and you say, there's no way I can accomplish a decade's worth of this stuff in a year. Then
I think that's part of what it does is it helps you to go, ooh, that's not really as important as I thought it was. These 10 things I want to do in the next decade, I can't do all 10 of them. Mm-hmm. I'm only going to do this one. And so if I had 1 year to do it, this is the one I would focus on. Mm-hmm. It helps to prioritize. You think it's something else?
I hate everything about this episode. I mean that as in like I just am feeling challenged. That's all.
I agree. This stuff definitely gets me.
I'm so glad that I could offer this for you guys.
You know what I mean? Like it's all really good and it's valuable, but it's challenging. I mean, it's causing you to take a hard look at certain things and put goals and
deadlines and benchmarks. And,
and which and then when you don't, like how are you not feel like, again with my issue of being my critic, it's like,
and don't let this sort of thing, this is to everybody, don't let this sort of thing be a taskmaster or a slave driver. This is about having something to aim at. And when you write it down, it's real and it's on paper and there it is. And you can see that you didn't do the thing you said you were going to do. But don't get overwhelmed by that. Mm-hmm. This is just a piece of paper. And the great thing is, like the thing from 2021 that I started doing partway into the year, and I went, I don't want to do this. This isn't important to me. That's okay. Just because you wrote it down doesn't mean you can't change it. And you should change it. But you're never going to figure it out if you don't start moving towards something.
Yep.
Okay, so that episode has been a little bit longer than I expected. How would you sum this up?
I know at the outset, we sort of, made light of a lot of the New Year's resolution stuff and the different articles of goals for the next year.
Right.
And all that sort of thing. But just as one last piece, there's nothing wrong with the fresh start effect.
100%.
And so if an arbitrary change in month or an arbitrary approach, towards the end of the year is what it takes for you to, maybe look at something like this a little more seriously, then roll with it. Because we know that motivation eventually fades. And so there's nothing wrong with while you are, inevitably hit with the fresh start effect. I think to some extent we all are, as much as we want to poke fun at it. Roll with it to get something like this 20% done or 30% done.
We're poking fun at the industry, not so much as the reality. Yeah.
Yeah.
The boss I used to work for a long time ago, a man named Dave Ramsey, always used to say, events inspire, processes change. And so if the event of the new year, if the event of changing the calendar inspires you, awesome. But it's the process that you're going to engage that is going to actually make a change in your life. So engage some processes.
Yep.
Awesome.
Said perfectly.
By a man much better at this than anybody at this table. You should, if you need help in your financial life, you should check out Dave Ramsey. All right. All the products, we didn't talk about any products. I keep doing this. These last couple shows at the end of the year have been totally not about natural health or supplementation. But if you're interested in that stuff, we have it all available on our website, askjoedimatteo.com, askjoedimatteo.com. That's also where you can sign up for the newsletter. You can find out about sales, past episodes of this show, the show that started all this, the Ask Joe DiMatteo show, all that's available there on the website.
Are there supplements to help my discipline?
Yeah.
No, but we should work on that.
Discipline essentials.
If you have a question, email us questions@askjoedimatteo.com. We haven't done any of those in a little bit. We're going to get some show notes. And in this case, it's that set of questions are going to be available down below. Just hit that link, copy and paste it. You can do this yourself. It's great stuff. If you've learned anything from this episode, if this was helpful in any way, give the show a thumbs up, a 5-star rating, leave a review, a written out review, especially in iTunes. That helps us out. And share it with somebody else that you know, somebody that you love and value and thinks could use this information as well. That's the best way to help us grow the show. Big thanks to Josiah Schweinberg, our engineer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll see you guys next year.
You will. And I won't see you until then.
Next year.
Very good. Michael Deppish, our editor. Thank you, sir. Joyce Gibb, our nurse practitioner who handles private consultations. Diane Silverman, who handles product. Terry, who does scheduling. Cecilia, who does distribution. Dante, Mr. DiMatteo, thank you very much. My name is Tyler Andrews. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year's. We'll see you guys in 2024.